you already know I'm gonna break it down to you. After you go to A school, they send you somewhere, whether that be in the United States of America or somewhere in another country. You're gonna get somewhere. As for me, I was stationed. My first duty, my only duty, was a ship, which happened to be in Virginia, of all places, right? I mean, I didn't really mind. Honestly, I didn't even know where I wanted to go, because when you're in A school, they give you like a little dream sheet saying, oh, where do you want to go? We'll take it into consideration, blah, 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 blah. But it's just basically saying, it's just a little thing to give you hope, motivation, whatever the case may be. But anyways, I got stationed in Virginia. After I went on leave for about 2 weeks, I had to go report to Norfolk, Virginia. Well, technically it's a Little Creek, Virginia, but at the time, when I had to go check into my ship, they weren't even in that base. Luckily, I overheard from my A school that somebody else got the same shit, who to this day is a very, very good friend of mine. And I got his information down. I was like, oh, you're going to be on the Carter Hall. I was like, all right, let me get your number down just in case, because I had deleted Facebook. Because I deleted basically my social media right before I joined the Navy, just because, I just didn't want them looking into stuff and then be like, oh, this, blah, 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 blah. I'm not saying that I did anything wrong or anything, but, it's something for them to not look at, so, might as well play it on my part. But anyways, I get to the airport. I have no one's picking me up. This is my first time being in that area of Virginia, so I have no idea where anything's at. Luckily, my other boy that I met in boot camp, he was stationed out there, but he couldn't go get me because he was working, right? So I'm over here struggling, like, damn, how do I do it? So I remember I got my homeboy's number, call his ass up, be like, yo, I'm here. How do I get to where the ship's at? And he's basically saying, look, I'm gonna give you this number so you can call this person, which was the third class at the time, so maybe he can go get you. So whatever, it's already a bad impression, right? I have nobody at the airport for me. I don't know where the hell I'm at. And then he gives me the number. It's a 562 area code as well. So I was like, oh, this was from where I'm from, whatever. But I didn't really pay much mind to that. I was just ready to get to where I needed to get to. You get me? Well, anyways, nice little pool. I call him up. I tell him, look, I'm at the airport. I don't know how to get to you. Blah, 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 blah. Or, mind you, before all this happened, I got into a taxi and I told this fool, where are the Navy ships at? This is how rookie I was in the game. The taxi driver was, oh, I know where they're at. Automatically in his head, the locals think NOB, Norfolk base. So it's like, I'll take you there. We go. And in the process of the airport to getting to NOB, that's where I hit up my boy. He tells me, gives me the number. I hit that fool up. I basically call him. He tells me, yo, so-and-so, how do I get to the ship? He's like, look, we're not where you're going. We're not at the base that we're supposed to be. We're in the shipyards in Portsmouth. And this was speaking Korean, Japanese. He's speaking a different language. I don't know what the hell that is. I don't know where that's at. So he sends me his location. I tell the guy, look, this is where he's at. And the taxi driver, I'm over here like almost having to argue with this fool to take me where I want to go. He's like, no, there's no ships over there. There's no ships over there. And I'm like, bro, I don't care if there's ships or not. That's where this fool's telling me to go. Take me. So whatever, long story short, he finally starts going that way. We finally get to the spot, and then sure enough, it's a fucking dry dock, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I forgot. And he's like, oh, I didn't know they had ships out here, blah, 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 blah. We're in the shipyards. We're not dry dock. My fault. So anyways, we get there. Whatever's. Good old day. I check in with the senior chief. She breaks it down to me. Look, this is what's going to happen. You got this weekend off. I'm going to have this third class take you wherever you need to go. So, I left my unnecessary bags back in my rack. And then I took off with this one. He took me to NOB with my homeboy, the one that was previously already in Norfolk. basically took me to his barracks, and then I just kicked it there. Whatevs, you know. The first weekend they kind of give it to you off, kind of like let you breathe in, whatevs, this and that. Because then once you get in, you're on a 5 and 2 schedule. So 1 week you'll work 5 days, and another week you only work 2 days. But technically it's not really 2 days, it's 2.5, because this is how it works, right? Let's just say you worked the weekend. You worked after breakfast Friday. So you work after breakfast Friday, then you finish Friday, you do all Saturday, you do all of Sunday, you show up Monday, and you just cook breakfast, and then after you have quarters, you guys do your turnover thing, and you dip out. So right, so now you're off for the rest of Monday, you're off all Tuesday, and you don't come in till Wednesday after lunch, well, after breakfast, right? So it's like 8 o'clock. So you do turnover, headquarters. You do turnover, headquarters, and then you guys take over, and then those people dip, and vice versa. Then you still there Wednesday all day, Wednesday for the rest of the day, all day Thursday. Then Friday you come in, do breakfast, and then Friday after breakfast, you turn over, whatever. Yeah, that's how it works. So anyways, that's basically she's telling me how it's going down, whatever. So I go kick it with the homies. It's Virginia. It's the first time in Norfolk. I ain't gonna lie, bro. That transition from California to Virginia, Norfolk area, man, that was rough. Not gonna lie. There were some days where I was like, bro, what did I do? What am I doing here? Blah, 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 blah. You know? But yeah, you just get fucking through it, homie. You just push through. Because then after a while, it's not too hard, you know, the work. But here's the thing, though. You know, sometimes that does sound like pretty good, whatever. It's like, damn, 1 week I only work 2 days, blah, 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 blah. Remember, it sounds very good on paper. But determining who is in charge of your, I guess, division has a lot to do with how early or how late you go home. For the most part, when I first got to my command, the senior chief that was in charge at the time, she didn't have a very good reputation of going home early, if you know what I mean, you know? So they dragged the day out, and they dragged the day out because either they're feeling some type of way, or they just don't want others talking about them, saying like, oh, they let these people go home early, and blah, blah, blah. Whatever the case may be, I don't know. That's another reason why I got out, because too much BS going on when there doesn't need to be BS going on. And not to include that sometimes, obviously, the food that we cook is going to run out, so we got to order more. And sometimes the people that order the food either order it the day that it is a turnover day, so it kind of F's over the watch that's going off. You know what I'm saying? And or sometimes, you know, the people that can help and or the crane, because obviously we need a crane sometimes, just to make it a lot easier, can't go certain days, so they're like, oh, we're available this day, you guys can get orders this day. All right, perfect, let's just all do it on this day. And it just ends up effing over. Somebody is always going to get effed over in the Navy, no matter what. Somebody always gets effed over. That's just how it is. I don't know if people do it on purpose. They probably do. But other than that, you know, it's just a day-to-day basis, you know? But yeah, that's pretty much the breakdown. As long as we're in import, like either it be home base or foreign port, for the most part, it's going to be like that. It's going to be a 5 and 2 schedule. You do what you do. Unless you guys are having a ceremony where you guys are feeding the locals. This is only in a foreign port. Then everybody's working, so you know, because they make it all nice and neat, get the food ready, get the drinks, whatever, you know. But for the most part, being a CS in the Navy, it's not hard, you know. The schedule is good on paper, and if you have a great chain of command, man, it's gonna go very smoothly. There was a time in the Carter Hall where turnovers going so smooth. It was going so smooth to the point we were getting blind at turnovers. If you don't know what a blind turnover is, it's basically, you know, I said you work on the turnover days, you got to come in for breakfast, and then after that you do quarters and you dip. So a blind turnover, essentially, you don't got to do that. You prep breakfast, like you put it ready to go, so when the other watch comes the next day, bright and early in the morning, all they got to do is throw it in the oven or whatever, however the cooking method is, that's all they got to do. They don't got to open up, they don't, you know, you just leave everything ready to go. And sometimes they were allowed us to do that, other times some people would F it, so, you know, they basically basically mess it up for everybody. And yeah, because you know, there's incidents, you know, there's people that just do things for themselves, and that's just what it is, homie. It messes up it messes the routine, the structure that everybody else has. And then, you know, sometimes they're like, nah, I can't trust that because I don't want to get chewed out because somebody wants to be selfish. So fuck that. We're not doing that. You're just all gonna come in, and it is what it is. But yeah, for the most part, see a schedule pretty chill, pretty light. You know, I didn't get really into depth with it. I kind of just gave you a broad idea of how it works and what to expect. But for the most part, yeah, that's what it is. It's chilling. Other than that, you guys have a great rest of your week. It's Wednesday. Let's get through it. Peace.